Shocking. Your soulmate was in tears today, you won't believe why. My beloved child, don't skip this, because the emotion your soulmate carried today was not ordinary, and something huge is waiting for you in this message. There was a moment today when they suddenly became quiet, even though everything around them looked completely normal. Their eyes filled with tears, and what happened next may surprise you more than you expect. They were not crying because they had forgotten you. They were crying because something reminded them of you so strongly that they could no longer pretend their feelings were easy to hide. Stay till the end, because the real reason behind those tears is connected to something they have been silently carrying for much longer than you realize. And here is where this becomes shocking. Today, something triggered a memory of you that they thought they had finally placed far away in their heart. A familiar song, a certain place, a simple sentence, or even a completely ordinary moment suddenly brought your presence back into their mind. For a few seconds, they felt as if time had stopped. They remembered your energy, your words, your patience, and one particular moment between you that they still cannot explain. Don't skip, because there is a deeper layer coming. Their tears were not simply about missing you. They were connected to a realization they had recently reached. A realization that made them wonder whether they had misunderstood the entire story between you. Something huge is waiting for you, because tonight their heart is facing a truth it has tried to avoid. They may have looked strong from the outside, but inside, they have been questioning one decision, one distance, and one moment they wish they could experience differently. And the most surprising part is this. When they became emotional today, your name was connected to the thought that immediately followed. Stay till the end of this journey, because what they realized in that emotional moment could completely change how they see your connection. Don't skip, the tears were only the beginning, and the next revelation goes much deeper. There is something they almost admitted today, my beloved child, but at the very last moment, they held it back. Don't skip, because this is where the story takes an unexpected turn. After those tears came a strange silence, the kind of silence that happens when someone is standing face to face with a truth they can no longer push away. Your soulmate started thinking about all the moments when they could have spoken honestly, all the times they could have reached out, and every opportunity they allowed to pass. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and the reason behind their tears becomes even more powerful from here. Then came the thought that shook them the most: what if I have been looking at this connection from the wrong direction? That single realization made their emotions rise again. They remembered how naturally your presence affected them, how certain memories still appear without permission, and how difficult it has been to replace the feeling they associate with you. They may have tried to stay distracted, tried to act completely unaffected, or even convinced themselves that time would make everything disappear. But today, something inside them refused to cooperate with that story. Don't skip now. Stay till the end, because they reached a realization about you that they were not prepared to face. And then, in the quietest moment of the day, they imagined what it would feel like to finally tell you everything without hiding behind pride, hesitation, or silence. That thought alone brought another wave of emotion. They wondered whether you still remember the same moments, whether you ever felt the same invisible pull, and whether there is still a door open between your two hearts. Something huge is waiting for you, because their tears may have revealed what their words have been unable to say. They still care far more deeply than they have allowed themselves to admit. And before this message ends, you are going to understand why today became such an emotional turning point for them. But just when you think you understand why your soulmate was in tears, my beloved child, another layer begins to unfold. Earlier today, they remembered something about you that they had almost forgotten, the way you made them feel understood without demanding an explanation. That memory arrived so suddenly that they had to pause and collect themselves. Don't skip, because this is not about a random emotional moment. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and the next realization reveals why their heart became so heavy today. Then they began replaying the little details they once overlooked, a conversation, a look, a moment of unexpected kindness, perhaps even something you said casually that stayed inside their heart far longer than you ever knew. And suddenly, they understood something surprising. The connection was never meaningful because everything was perfect. It was meaningful because even during silence, distance, or uncertainty, something about you continued to matter. That realization brought tears back to their eyes. They wondered how someone could be absent from their everyday life and still appear so clearly in their thoughts. Don't skip now, because the most emotional part is still ahead. And here comes the revelation they were not expecting. They realized they are no longer simply missing a person, they are missing the version of themselves they became when they felt truly connected to you. That thought changed everything. They remembered feeling hopeful, seen, peaceful, and understood, and for a moment they wished they could return to that exact feeling. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Those tears were carrying a message their heart has struggled to express: I never stopped caring. And what happened after that realization may be the strongest clue yet that their feelings are moving toward a moment of honesty they have been postponing for far too long. Something changed in the way they looked at your connection today, and my beloved child, this is the part you absolutely should not skip. They stopped asking themselves whether they could forget you and started asking a much more powerful question: why does this still matter to me? Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and the answer began unfolding when they finally allowed themselves to feel everything they had been pushing aside. Their tears became a quiet confession, not necessarily spoken aloud, but deeply felt. They realized that some connections cannot be measured by how often two people talk, because sometimes one person can remain deeply meaningful even through silence. Then another memory appeared. They remembered a moment when you needed understanding, patience, or reassurance, and they wondered whether they had given you enough of it. That thought touched a place inside them they usually keep protected. They began thinking about the things you may have felt but never expressed, the questions you may have carried quietly, and the possibility that their hesitation may have caused you to doubt how important you really were. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting, and this realization is bringing them closer to a decision. Today was not simply about remembering you, it was about finally recognizing the weight of what remained unsaid. And now, my beloved child, listen carefully, because this is where their emotional moment becomes a turning point. They imagined sitting across from you with nothing to hide, no confusing signals, no pretending, and no need to act stronger than they truly feel. In that imagined moment, they wanted to say what they have struggled to express. That your presence left a mark on their heart, that certain memories still matter, and that they have wondered more than once what could happen if both of you finally spoke honestly. Something huge is waiting for you, so stay till the end. Their tears were not the conclusion, they were the beginning of a realization that may soon force them to stop hiding behind silence and finally face what their heart has been trying to tell them. My beloved child, the moment after those tears revealed something even deeper, so don't skip now. Your soulmate became unusually still, as if one thought had suddenly taken over everything else in their mind. They began wondering what you might be doing at that exact moment, whether you were thinking about them too, and whether you had already started moving forward without them. That question touched them unexpectedly hard. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and this is where their emotions begin turning into clarity. They realized that missing you was not the part that surprised them most. The surprising part was how strongly they wanted to know whether they still mattered to you. Then came a memory they could not push away. They remembered one of your smallest gestures, something you may not even consider important anymore, but they remembered exactly how it made them feel. That memory opened the door to many others. Suddenly, moments they once considered ordinary began looking completely different. They started connecting details they had ignored before, and one realization slowly became impossible to avoid: they may have underestimated the depth of what existed between you. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting, and the next thought was the one that brought the emotion back. They wondered whether waiting too long to express themselves had created a distance that never needed to exist. And then their heart asked the question that changed the entire mood of the day: what if they are still waiting for me to be honest? Stay till the end, because that question is more important than it sounds. For the first time, they imagined you hearing everything they have kept inside: the memories, the regret, the affection, the uncertainty, and the truth behind their silence. They pictured your reaction, and that image made their eyes fill again. They realized that if they ever get another genuine opportunity to speak with you, they do not want to waste it pretending everything is fine. Something huge is waiting for you, because their tears may have been the emotional beginning of a decision, to stop hiding behind what they cannot say and finally let their actions reveal what their heart has been holding. My beloved child, something happened inside their heart after that emotional moment that they never expected, and don't skip now. They stopped replaying the past simply to feel emotional about it, and instead began looking at it with completely different eyes. One particular memory suddenly felt like a message they had misunderstood before. They remembered your expression, your words, and the feeling that surrounded that moment, and for the first time they wondered if you had been trying to tell them something without directly saying it. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting, and this realization is taking them closer to a truth they have been avoiding. Then their thoughts became even more personal. They started wondering whether you ever noticed how deeply certain moments affected them. Did you know they remembered those little details? Did you realize that some of your words stayed with them long after the conversation ended? Did you ever understand that behind their silence there were feelings they simply did not know how to express? Don't skip, because these questions opened something they had kept locked away. Their tears were no longer only about what happened before. They were also about the possibility that you may have never known how much you truly meant to them. And that thought became almost impossible for them to ignore. But then came the moment that changed their entire perspective. They realized they were tired of wondering what could have happened if they had been more honest. They began imagining a future where they finally spoke from the heart instead of allowing uncertainty to speak for them. Something huge is waiting for you, so stay till the end. Because in that quiet moment, they made a private promise to themselves. If the right opportunity appears, they will not let fear, hesitation, or old misunderstandings decide everything again. Their tears revealed the emotion, but this new determination may reveal what comes next, and the next part of this story is where their hidden feelings become impossible to ignore. My beloved child, the silence after their tears became more powerful than the tears themselves, so don't skip now. They sat with their thoughts and suddenly realized they were not remembering only one moment with you, they were remembering an entire feeling. Your presence had become connected to a chapter of their life they still could not completely close. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They began asking themselves why certain memories still feel so alive, why your words still return to their mind at unexpected moments, and why their heart becomes softer whenever they think about what you once shared. Then something surprising happened. Instead of asking, "Why can't I move on from this feeling?" they asked, "What am I supposed to learn from it?" That question changed the emotional weight they had been carrying. They started seeing the connection from a different perspective, realizing that perhaps the distance, silence, and unanswered questions had taught them something about appreciation. They remembered moments they once took for granted and wished they had recognized their value sooner. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting, and this realization brought them closer to one simple truth. Sometimes you understand the importance of a person only after life gives you enough silence to truly notice their absence. And then came the thought that made their heart feel completely exposed. They imagined hearing your voice again and wondered whether you would still recognize the person behind all their silence. They wondered whether you would believe them if they finally told you that they had thought about you more often than they ever admitted. Stay till the end, because the strongest revelation is still ahead. Their tears were not simply an expression of sadness, they were the emotional release of someone realizing that pretending not to care had become harder than admitting that they do. And somewhere deep inside, they began preparing themselves for a moment when words may finally become actions, and when everything they have kept hidden could finally be brought into the light. My beloved child, the next realization came so suddenly that they almost wished they could take the thought back, so don't skip. They began imagining one simple question from you: "Why did you never tell me?" And they realized they had no easy answer. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They could think of hesitation, uncertainty, pride, timing, and countless reasons. But none of them could erase the truth that there were moments when they wanted to speak and simply didn't. That realization brought back the emotion because they suddenly understood that silence can become heavy when the heart knows there were words that deserved to be spoken. Then they remembered something incredibly specific about you. Maybe it was the way you looked at them during a conversation, the way you listened when they spoke, or the way you made an ordinary moment feel strangely unforgettable. Whatever it was, today that memory returned with unusual clarity. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting, and this is where their emotions began transforming into a quiet determination. They started wondering what would happen if they stopped trying to predict your response and simply became honest. What if they finally allowed you to see the feelings behind the silence? What if the connection deserved one sincere conversation instead of another unanswered question? And then came the thought that left them completely overwhelmed. They realized that what they truly wanted was not another memory of you, they wanted a new moment with you. Stay till the end, because this is the part you cannot afford to miss. They imagined seeing you again, hearing your voice, and finally having the opportunity to say everything they never managed to say before. Their tears returned, but this time there was something different behind them, a sense of hope. Something huge is waiting for you, because the emotional moment that started with remembering you may be leading towards something far more meaningful. A chance to replace old silence with honest words, old uncertainty with clarity, and one unforgettable memory with a completely new beginning. My beloved child, something happened in their thoughts after that moment that made them look at everything differently, so don't skip now. They realized that if they were given one opportunity to speak to you without hesitation, they would not waste it discussing the past endlessly. They would want you to understand what was happening inside them all this time. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They began imagining the first few seconds of that conversation, the nervous silence, the familiar feeling, and the moment when all those carefully hidden emotions finally became impossible to disguise. For the first time, they were not imagining losing you, they were imagining what it would feel like to finally stop wondering. Then another realization surfaced, and this one touched them even more deeply. They understood that the most painful part was not the distance itself, it was not knowing whether the door between you was still open. They wondered if you had already changed, if your heart had moved forward, or if a small part of you still remembered what once existed. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting, and this question stayed with them long after everything else became quiet. They wanted to know whether you still felt that strange familiarity when you thought about them, whether certain memories still made you pause, and whether you ever wondered what might happen if both of you stopped waiting for the perfect moment. And then, my beloved child, came the realization that may explain why today affected them so strongly. They understood that they cannot control what you feel, but they can finally control whether they continue hiding what they feel. Stay till the end, because the story is moving toward its most powerful moment. Their tears became a quiet turning point. Instead of asking life for another sign, they began thinking about what they could personally do differently. Something huge is waiting for you, because their heart is no longer simply looking backward. It is looking forward. And somewhere in that new direction is the possibility of a sincere conversation, an unexpected expression of feeling, and a moment where you may finally discover what those tears were truly trying to say.